Hello there, and welcome to the Secret Sauce of Selling podcast, the ultimate guide and sales gym to unlocking the secrets to successful selling. I'm your host, James Abraham, on a mission, together with Novacy here, to empower the best generation of sales professionals and business leaders the world has ever seen. And I am very excited to be here with you today with a very good friend and colleague, Lauren Valentine. Welcome to the show.
Hello, thank you for having me.
And Lauren is very special because Lauren is a top recruiter for sales and business, sales professionals and business leaders. And she used to be in the Center Network. So she's got the mindset, she's got the behaviors, and definitely got the technique. And our topic today is cracking the sales leadership hiring enigma.
Yeah.
Lauren, what are we talking about today? Why don't you unpack that for us?
Yeah, so, we're talking a little bit about the challenges that organizations run into when they are looking to bring on top sales leadership talent, and how do they navigate that and ultimately bring the people that they want into their organization.
Yeah, and it's interesting because everyone's talking about hiring the right salespeople and hiring and firing, and you feel like you hire James Bond, but you end up with Mr. Bean after 3 months, and that is, let's throw another body at the problem and hope it'll go away. But the leadership piece is even more complicated, and I don't even think most companies are aware of what really happens. One, to locate the talent, but then to can even convince them to join the organization, and of course set them up for success. So why don't we focus on those three stages?
Mhm.
Really finding them, locating them, convincing them. Because if someone's knocking on your door, they're probably not the right fit. But if we're actually hunting them, we're probably going after top talent. So those three levels, getting them through getting them to talk to us, getting them to getting hiring them, and then onboarding them. Why don't you start and tell us the secrets of really what's going on behind the scenes when it comes to finding great talent in leadership?
Yeah. So when it starts to finding great sales leadership or sales talent, I usually like to say it actually starts even before you're
Hmm.
doing that outreach or that active recruitment. And it starts with your company culture and the selling points of your organization. And I always like to say that hiring and interviewing people is as much of a sales process as it is anything else. You are qualifying those people as a good fit for your
Yeah.
organization, but also you are selling them on the value of being a part of your organization. And the reality is that we are in a global labor shortage right now. The talent that you want is gainfully employed, and they're probably pretty happy where they are. And so you have to think about what is going to motivate somebody to make that change and come to your organization. And frankly, top sales talent, top sales leadership, they have options and they are highly sought after. You are not the only manager or recruiter that's reaching out to them. And so, it really starts with taking a look at really what are people looking for right now when they are making a change in employment, and can your company offer those? Are you in a position to offer those?
Interesting. So what you're saying is get your story together at home before you start going out and looking for. So walk me a little through that process, and for those of the listeners and viewers, Lauren is a top recruiter. What does it look like from your point of view? Let's pretend a company has reached out to you, said, "Look, this is a job description. This is what we're looking for." Could you take us through those stages of one, how you find the right match with the company that's actually reaching out to your client, but
Mhm.
also how do you get into the mindset of going out and now prospecting to actually find these people? I mean, is it, do you have like bank of people, or do you know, okay, we have to start to, because I mean, gold is not easy to find, right? Diamonds are not easy to find. So walk us through that. What's happening behind the scenes? I'm super super curious.
Yeah. So, one of the really great things about partnering with a talent acquisition agency like Alant is that, this is our full time job. We do have a database of over 1 million people
Wow.
who we have vetted and pre qualified as top talent. Now, we do specialize in sales recruitment. We also work in a lot of other functions in the business. So, those 1 million people are not all salespeople. They
Of
are
course.
a variety of different professional roles. And we always start there because those are people that we vetted, that we have a relationship with. Now, those people may or may not actively be on the market at this time. So, we also invest pretty heavily in technology, and we have a diverse team here that's doing that proactive outreach to those candidates who align with the company culture and criteria that our clients are looking for. And, I was a hiring manager in a previous life. I was in a sales leadership role myself. And you know that you need to do that proactive outreach, but it is a full time job. And when do you have time during the day to do that proactive outreach when you're trying to do, ride alongs with your sales team or coach your sales team or
Yeah.
manage KPIs and all of those other, important tasks that you have to do as a sales leader. And so our job is to really essentially, we're prospecting that talent that aligns with the criteria that our clients have set forth.
So tell me what a sales leader shouldn't do, okay, before contacting you. What they shouldn't do, because all the stuff that they should do is fine, that's fine. But let's talk about what they shouldn't do, because usually I think our listeners, they always say, James, thanks so much for telling me what I shouldn't do. That's so much more helpful than telling me what I should do, because what I shouldn't do is stuff that's easy to remember. So what shouldn't they do before reaching out to someone like yourself, so that then when you do engage with them, you guys can work comfortably together and of course achieve success.
Yeah, that's a really great question. I have not been asked this
Well,
before.
thank you very much for the stroke.
Um,
Appreciate it.
you're welcome. So that is a good question. I'm trying to think of, what shouldn't they do? Well, it really depends. Sometimes we have clients who come to us and, they already have the job description together. They've already done the salary analysis. They know where they need to be. They've done the analysis of the market that they're looking to hire in, and they have a sense of, how many people are available and what the competition is going to look like for them to attract talent in that market. Um, a lot of times we work with clients who have not done that as well, and that's something that we are able to help them with, and we can conduct that market analysis. I think sometimes it's actually helpful when, we help them with that piece because we're
Mhm.
able to have a conversation and talk about, you're looking for a VP of sales in this area, and there are X number of other job postings in this area that are competitive for VPs of sales. And
Got it.
here's what we're seeing in
Interesting.
terms of talent. So, you know, this is what you're up against.
Yeah. I mean, wow, I think that's an aha moment, because what I do see for the most part, a lot of companies, you'll have a C, like a C level, CRO, VP sales, and looking for managers, looking for VP sales, and even looking for CRO. For the most part, what happens is they come to companies, organizations like yours, um, or to HR, and then or go get me this person, without saying, wait a second, you know what? Could we have a quick conversation? Maybe consult with you just a little bit. What's going on out there? What's really happening in the marketplace? And I don't know if they're not having that conversation because, and no offense to the listeners out there, because they're either lazy, stupid, don't care. And again, no offense to anyone out there, but think about it. I mean, do they not have that conversation because it's an ego thing, or because they don't realize that they can have that conversation with you, that you can be that trusted advisor to them? Or is it just go and fetch, try and go and fetch? Again, no offense to anyone out there, but bottom line is prospecting for gold here. That's not an easy job. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. I agree with that, and I also along those lines, a lot of times I see people, they have these very robust job descriptions and
Yeah.
they want
Everything,
100%. And
everything. Yeah.
that's not reality. And so you have to think about you've just created a unicorn that doesn't exist. So, what do you really need to drive success in that role? And what can you coach or train over time?
Yeah. If I can share again from my experiences, in this world, what I find a lot of times is they have that wish list, the impossible wish list. It just doesn't exist. And they can't find the right. They're like, no one comes anywhere close. And do you know what they end up hiring? They, at the end, eventually end up hiring someone is the complete opposite of everything they're wishing for because they have to settle, because they're fed up, because it's been too long. They're all emotional. They're making the wrong decisions. And they just basically, at the end of the day, have to compromise on pretty much everything on that list. But they do tell themselves subconsciously, oh, no, that person has it, when that person absolutely doesn't have it in them.
Yeah.
So okay, this is super interesting. Now, talk to me about the actual dynamics when and you know what, I think this is relevant to a sales leader right now that might be listening to this, that wants to get hired well, and I think that's a fair statement. I think um, sales leaders that are looking to get hired well should say, I am looking to get hired well. I think that is a freaking awesome statement in an interview. When someone says, all right, what are you looking for? I said, one, I want to get hired well, I want to
Yeah.
get onboarded well, and I want to make sure that I'm getting set up for success so I can make your company successful. And for the most part, I don't know if that conversation is really happening, but talk to me about getting hired well. What does that mean? I mean, for a sales leader that's looking to get hired well, but also for a company that wants to make sure they're doing the right things to get the right people through the door.
Yeah, the number one thing right now is the time frame that it takes for a company to go through the interview process from start to end.
Mm,
And, this does not mean that if you are an organization and you're hiring that you need to rush or, not thoroughly qualify a candidate. However, the average candidate right now is only on the market for 10 days and they have a lot of options. And a lot of times, what it comes down to is whoever can, get to the finish line and make that offer first is who's going to be successful. And so, what we tell our clients is you don't need to rush how you qualify them, but you do need to think about your process and keep it efficient. The number one piece that causes that interview process to go on for a very long time is the time between the steps. And so we always tell our clients that they have to commit to a 24-hour or less turnaround time on feedback. It doesn't mean you need to hire this person, but it means get that candidate the feedback ASAP. If you know in the interview that you want to move them forward, tell them that. Well, they're right there. We're Sandler trained, so we all are fans of the clear next step. Get a
yep.
clear next step on the calendar. Schedule it with the candidate while they're there. It shows them that you're interested in them, you're engaged, you're excited, you're organized. And again, these are all selling points of your organization. The worst thing you can do is have days go by with no feedback to the candidate, or you have these steps that are repetitive. So, also looking at, can you combine, maybe instead of doing a 30-minute interview with one person, it's an hour interview and you have two people from your organization there. That
Interesting. I like that. Yeah, that's an interesting point. And again, we are talking about identifying top talent here. This is not, just just getting people through the process for the sake of it. But I agree. And so let's take it a bit, just another step forward. Um, from your perspective, what do top performing sales leaders look for?
yeah, it,
Um, and yeah, and getting onboarded in a company and in a new company, what do they really look for? I mean, you must have these conversations with them.
yes. It's not a one size fits all. Different people have different values. And I think this is where having that Sandler background really comes in because it's your questioning techniques as an interviewer of,
Mm.
really digging into what is important to that person that you're interviewing, and are their values in alignment with your organization. That being said, there are some consistent themes that we see. Obviously, great salespeople are money motivated. We know this. It
And that's a
does,
good, and that's okay.
yes,
That is
yes,
okay.
yes, it's a good thing.
Yes,
Uh,
absolutely.
yes.
Some
So,
people, some you'd be surprised. The reason I said that, and viewers and listeners, I've actually heard people say, "Well, all they care about is money." Well, yeah, they're in sales. All they care about. But yeah, it's a big thing, and that's fine. That motivates
yes.
them.
Yes. So, looking at, is your base salary competitive for that market and the skill set that you're looking for, but also the variable compensation piece. And, are you offering something that's competitive? Most people are not looking to make a lateral move. They're moving, to take a step up in their career, or because something changed with the organization that they're currently with. The other really big thing right now is that culture piece and values and the benefits that you're able to offer. So, you know, different companies in different countries do things a little bit differently, but, paid time off and, time off is really critical for people. People want to be able to work really hard and also enjoy their life and spend time with their family and the people that they care about. Benefits are really important here in the United States. So, looking at health insurance and things like that, because we do that differently here than a lot of other countries do. And,
Yeah,
and that is something that is a really big factor when hiring people here in the United States. And then the number one thing is flexibility. People want the freedom and flexibility to be able to accomplish their goals and work really hard for the organization within a structure that works for both them, the organization, and the clients. They're not looking to be micromanaged, and people need flexibility to be able to, meet the needs of their families or personal obligations that they have outside of work as well.
interesting. Yeah, well, the world has changed in the past few years. I'll
Yes.
say that for sure. But a lot of stuff that also comes up, I hear a lot of stuff that's like, what do the technology look like that the companies are utilizing? And another point that just popped to mind, what I see a lot with my clients and a lot of companies I work with is, in order to make things very efficient. I don't know if anyone does this, but utilizing tools like Novacy and other platforms that can actually record those interviews, provide the insights, what's really going on from a verbal and nonverbal perspective. Because that's another element. I think it's everyone's. They're in that interview process, and I think both sides are very suspicious of the other side. Is this really what it should be? I mean, is it is it really a deal? And so I think another thing that comes to mind, especially these days, is really utilizing technology in order to make that process more efficient, as you mentioned, but also
Mhm.
come out with with insights that we probably wouldn't be able to get in another type of an environment.
Yeah.
Um, so, Lauren, let me ask you this: uh, What do you believe today candidates for leadership roles should be doing? Okay, and we're going to look at the other side of this right now. All right. Two, one, get exposed to the right companies, even if they are in a role, but really want to keep their options open. And two, um, sharpen their saw when it comes to going through that interview process. So one is, what should they be doing to get more exposure, and two is how can they sharpen their saw to be more precise in that interview process.
Yeah. You mentioned technology, and there is certainly a ton of technology that we leverage to find candidates and engage with them. But LinkedIn still remains the number one tool for both recruiters and job seekers. So if you are looking for a sales leadership role, is your LinkedIn profile up to date? Does it speak to the type of opportunities or types of opportunities that you are looking to attract?
Yeah.
LinkedIn has this really great feature that you can list on your profile called Open to Work. And it does not notify anyone from your current organization, but other people, recruiters and hiring managers can see that. And statistically, the people who have the Open to Work logo on their profile are more likely to engage with a recruiter. So
Or
we
not on their profile if they don't want to get found out, is what
right,
you're saying.
right. Well, it's on their
Okay.
profile for us, but not for
Oh, I
their
see. Oh, only you
yeah,
see that.
yeah,
Oh, that's pretty cool. I got
yes.
it.
So,
Okay.
we're going to reach out to those people first because they're likely, more likely to respond.
Mhm.
So, definitely including that, but also
Yeah.
checking your in-mails. And I know sometimes you can get a lot of people get a lot of spam, and I do too, but that's how we reach out to people. And a lot of times we're reaching out because we have an opportunity. And if you're not interested, that's okay. There's never any pressure. It's just a simple, hey, thank you, I'm not interested is great. But definitely keeping an eye on those pieces.
Excellent. Excellent. All right. So it's the time where I love just to ask this question, Lauren. What is your secret sauce for selling, or you know what, for recruiting? What is your secret sauce?
You know, I was very fortunate to have been a part of the Sandler world. And I think having that Sandler training is my secret sauce. I use that all the time. Sandler taught me how to have a consistent process. Sandler taught me really great questioning techniques. Sandler taught me the power of a clear next step. And when you're interviewing salespeople or you're interviewing sales leadership, you mentioned earlier, sometimes you interview people and the very best sales call they ever do is their interview. But it's those questioning techniques to drill down two or three
Yeah.
layers to get to the real answer that's going to make a difference between can they really sell or can they just sell themselves in an interview?
Yeah, I agree 100%. The cost of a bad hire is anywhere between a 10 to 25x of an annual salary, even if you get rid of them after 3 months. That's painful.
Yeah,
That is painful.
yeah.
And so, yeah. Amazing, amazing. Lauren, what do you like to do as for fun when you're not recruiting top talent and you're not finding the best people in the marketplace to support your clients? What do you like to do just for your mind, body, and spirit? You know that I like to look at the U triangle, if you know that, mind, body, and spirit.
Yes. I like to be pretty active. So I love to do yoga. I love to work out. I've been doing a lot of hiking lately. And I just like to keep moving. And when I'm not doing that, I do like to read.
That's amazing. And anything interesting you've read recently, or any podcasts, anything you'd like to share with the, and you know what, anything that you believe listeners should be actually engaging in, podcasts or books or whatever that can help them on the topics around hiring and leadership and stuff like that.
One of my favorite books, it's not one that I've read recently, but it's one of my favorite books related to business, is Start with Why by Simon Sinek. And I
Mm.
think it relates to hiring and recruiting as much as it does any other function of really, what, again, going back to what is your why of your organization? And are you hiring people that align with that? Are you hiring people? It's not just do they have industry experience or do they have a Rolodex of connections, but do they align with your company culture? And, are they going to really be a part of your team?
Yeah, I agree. Sometimes you'll see companies, people say, "Oh, they're so lucky because they got this." Yeah, they might be lucky, but if they do it over and over and again, you can't get that lucky. I mean, you can't be lucky on 10 hires. There's clearly something going on when you're asking yourself the tough questions of why are you hiring, and what are you hiring for, and how that'll impact. And you know what? I think that's a really great question in an interview to ask your candidate. What's your why? Why do you want this role, and why do you want to be successful, and just really find out their goals to tie them to the company goals so that everyone's happy and you're achieving success by actually bringing them in and aligning them with a vision and mission. So
Yeah.
I love that. That's an excellent point. Lauren, this has been awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. You've given us an excellent insight of what we should and shouldn't do. And we will say that hiring is tricky, especially these days, and top talent is out there, but you do need to look. So I appreciate it very much. How can people get in touch with you and your firm?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you for having me. And I'm on LinkedIn. So, Lauren Valentine on LinkedIn. And then also, email is a great way to get a hold of me as well. And my email is lauren.valentine@allant.com, which is ALAANT.com.
Awesome. Lauren, thank you. And to the listeners and viewers, thanks so much for tuning in. Click the subscribe button and make sure everything you do, you're doing it for the right reasons. Good selling, and all the best.